Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Bob Lee. I'm your host, and you're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Now, check this out. Leading things off, our first guest is one of the co-founders and organizers of Metabronx. And he's here with us today to speak about how his organization got started and how it's impacting our youth in the field of technology. And he's going to speak about the Metabronx Diversity Demo Day also. So please welcome to the show, Miguel Sanchez. Miguel, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yes, always a pleasure. Now, we heard so much about the wonderful things that you're doing in our community, helping others get what they need out of life, and that's always an important thing, especially in the field that I'm in. Tell us about yourself and how your passion got started in this field.
So I was born and raised in the Bronx on 167th Street in Shakespeare, pretty close to Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
My life was changed when I got a computer at 10 years old, and I learned about innovation from very early age. I was coding, gaming, designing, animating, and it really changed my life. So for my goal, as I got further and further into my career, it was like, how can I give more young people like me that similar opportunity?
Yeah.
So I founded Metabronx in about 2013, I forget what year.
Yeah.
But at first, I was mostly helping startup founders create their ideas. So technology startup founders end up having to raise venture capital. And right now, a lot of venture capital does not go to minorities, women, LGBT community members. So I figured, let me try to help that happen more often because I did understand it more than most.
Yeah.
At the same time, I worked with a co-founder of mine to bring young people and give them paid work experience in those same startups so young people can see people like them further along in the journey and learn as early as possible, because Mark Zuckerberg made Facebook when he was 17 years old.
Yeah,
so
right.
we want him to get it early,
Yeah. So, and then what was the thought behind Metabronx? How did you come up with the name, and how did you get this as the thing that you wanted to do?
The funny thing is, the name, we never really made it an official organization until one day, the great Michael Blake actually set up an event in the courthouse where he brought CNBC and he was like, all right, I want you guys to present what you're doing. And we just had like 5 or 6 startups and a bunch of interns. And we're like, there's really no name to this. We're just
wait. My buddy helped you start this?
Well, Michael Blake was
Assemblyman Michael Blake?
Michael Blake was one of the major supporters of us early on. Yeah, he definitely put us on stage. Yeah. So he helped us, of course, Amanda Septimo as well, which you could see on Diversity Demo Day. But we were like, okay, we got to present this to the world. It's confusing to say we're working with these 6 organizations, these 100 kids. So we said, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to make a top level of the Bronx, the Meta Bronx. So we said, we want to make sure the Bronx is looked at as the innovation hotspot that it is. We created hip hop, we created all these huge innovations in the world, but the Bronx never really benefited as much financially from those innovations. So how can we do that going forward? We want to make sure that the innovation is not only created here, is help funded here, so reap some of that funding reward, but then the youth are involved in it from day one, so they can go off and create their own.
Yeah. Any challenges in putting this all together? Of course, the challenges.
So one of the massive challenges in creating Metabronx is entrepreneurship education is not well funded by communities. A lot of job training, a lot of, skills that create full-time employees definitely get funding. But for entrepreneurship, it's really, really hard to get funding for this type of work. So we've had to pretty much figure out as entrepreneurs how to keep this going. And we've came up with many different routes. And now we're finally starting to get local support, financial support from startups, local people just donating to the nonprofit, schools, not public, private, charter schools are starting to donate. Yeah, and we've so far through our startups, we've helped them raise over $8.5 million. So our startups are starting to grow as well, which startups take time, as most people know. So yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, it's been very tough first few years, but at this point, we have worked with over 20 startups. We have raised over $8.5 million with those startups, and we've worked with over 1,000 young people. So we're really getting into our groove.
Bravo, excellent.
Thank you.
So, but you're still reaching out for people to support what you're doing, right?
Of course. Right now, we just finished our first diversity demo day where we publicly showed our startups to the world, and the entire show was produced by young people from the Bronx and Harlem and people around New York, young people around New York. Yeah. So that was the first public ceremony showing the world what we do, and now we're starting to see inbound support.
Is there another one coming up, another demo day?
So this was the first one. We're probably going to do another one next year because we have to work with the startups for a while first.
So how did that look?
So we basically did a show similar to what you're doing right now. We basically on YouTube, on Facebook, we live streamed, and we let our startups pitch investors and pitch the world. And then around those investor pitches, we had the young people of Metabronx tell their story of what Metabronx meant to them in their own words and through their own animations. So at Diversity Demo Day, you can see that presentation.
Is there one that stood out? I mean, while the youngsters were speaking of what Metabronx meant to them, what stood out? I mean, they probably are good, but you know.
No, I get it. Yeah.
And melted somebody down and said, "Oh man, here I'm gonna hit. Let me open up."
There were two areas that really stood out to me seeing it. The amount that these young people understand about how the economic climate is leaving them out of the future. And we didn't write it at all. They wrote their script. We didn't even edit it. And it sounded like we wrote it because they knew that the future of the economy is currently leaving them out. That was one of the biggest things I noticed. The other big thing is the women, the young women, like talking to the people that were going to watch and letting them know you are underestimating us and we're going to show you you're wrong. And that was that. It gives me goosebumps even now thinking about it.
I feel you. Yeah. Good. So where can we go to get more information, Miguel?
So definitely there's metabronx.com and then diversitydemoday.com, which is where you can see that event.
All right. Co-founder, Metabronx. Go to metabronx.com, right?
Yes.
All right. Miguel Sanchez, thank you so much. And thank you for all the things that you're doing for our youth.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for having me on the show.
You got it. And you're always welcome back. We'll take a hard break right here and we'll come back and give you more coming up next.